and the Nigeria Labour Congress, with the NLC now expressing strong opposition to the police summons issued against its national president, Ajaero. The NLC characterizes this move as politically motivated and an attempt to destabilize the labor movement. Mr. Ajaero faces allegations of criminal conspiracy and terrorism financing. Well, the union has announced plans for nationwide strikes as well as protests if Mr. Ajaero or any of its leaders are detained or harried. Well, Public Affairs Analyst Oladeinde Ariyo is with us, though in Abuja. Physically, he can join us, online via Zoom to tell us give us his perspectives on this issue. We also have Dipo Oyewole still with us. Thanks for holding on. Right, before we get to Mr. Ariyo, let's quickly get... Okay, Mr. Ariyo is there. Mr. Ariyo, it's good to have you join us. Thank you very much for joining in. But what do you think about this this controversy? Do you see a mother of all strike coming up? Oladeinde Ariyo, are you there? Mr. Ariyo, are you there?
I'm here, yes, but the volume from you is not loud.
Good morning. I'll try to speak up a bit louder. What do you think? What do you think about this issue now involving the NLC? It's gone ahead to issue ultimatum to the Nigeria Police Force if it carries on with its moves to arrest its national president, Ajaero. What's your take?
To start with, Ajaero is the president of NLC, the country's largest labor congress, and it's also the oldest labor union in the country. So in dealing with him, anyhow, one would have expected the security agencies to be circumspect, because it will not be in the interest of the country if its followers should emerge and start a public protest. Unfortunately, perhaps they didn't think that was possible. Labour Congress is not an amorphous or an unknown Congress. Therefore, tact and care ought to have been brought into play in addressing that issue. The way the thing started playing out, that the public was fed with the wrong information, that it was DSS that went to play down and got some people arrested, got some things taken away. It wasn't good enough. We are not in democracy. Every one of us, no matter the accusation, will remain innocent until we are convinced and we are confirmed guilty. As it is now, Labour is threatening if anything should happen to Ajaero. We must understand the basic fact that we are in a terrible situation economically. Now, with Labour working 247, things are still struggling. If they now shut down the economy, the consequences will be too dire for us to withstand. So, and I will have advised that before taking those steps, basic intelligence gathering should have been conducted, and whatever will be used as evidence against him might have been gathered to a certain extent. Not a situation where you pick him up, slam some charges on him, and then you are now trying to hunt or man. To that extent, caution will still be advised. We are not, there is tension, there is negative energy all over the places arising from the hunger and the inflation in the land, especially concerning food. Therefore, anything that will tinker with the peace in the nation should be clearly avoided. When you look at all the charges amassed against Ajaero, they are all very weighty and very, very heavy. I just advised that let the security take him to court as soon as possible and plead their cause and allow judiciary to step in. That way, they will have moved the theater from their own department to the judiciary. And I think the NLC would be more comfortable.
Right. Okay. So your point is made, Mr. Ariyo. Let me just quickly come into the studio with Mr. Jipo. I'm not sure whether you see it the same way, because people are saying that when you are accused of something, if the allegations leveled against you, and if you have nothing in your cupboard, if you have no skeleton in your cupboard, you just have to quickly go and clarify and make clarifications. Because one, not because you're representing an organization, your name is also at stake, and integrity, and then you need to clear this once and for all. So the fact that the NLC president, Ajaero, said that he wasn't going to honor this invitation at first, before he later said, okay, fine, give it time, I'll come, speaking through his lawyer. Do you feel that there is more to it than meets the eye, that he must just go and clarify himself as against being afraid?
Yes, and I do see it differently, because he must not be seen to be above the law, whatever position he occupies. A couple of minutes ago, we spoke about consequences of actions. And we must understand that part of the impact of consequences of actions is precedent. If we're able to set a precedent that because you're the president of the labor union, so that means you're above the law, and your folks can all but threaten the entire nation, threaten the critical infrastructure of the nation, because you are invited by law enforcement on certain charges where you have the freedom to go with a lawyer, then I think we're down a very slippery slope. And also when you look at how the labor union has, especially under him, has always positioned to be fighting a very righteous cause, and then begs the question, what examples are you really setting for the Nigerian workers? What examples are you setting for the Nigerian people? So for me, I see it a bit differently, that he must appear in front of law enforcement. He must honor the invitation. He's not above the law, and he must be able to caution his members, because I do not believe that we want a repeat of what happened the last time, where they went as far as shutting down the grid, which for me was criminal, if I may say that, because it was really, really, I mean, when the threat came, I didn't think they were going to go through with it, but shutting down the national grid of an entire nation is something that we must never allow to happen again under any circumstance, because, I mean, it's the grid that we're still trying to see how we can manage to maximize, and then you shut it down. The grid is not like your home generator that when you turn it off, immediately you can pull it back again to turn it back on. There's certain things that there's a sequence to it that to even get it back up to 50%, it takes a lot of time to get it back to 100%, and something that we're already struggling with in a struggling economy. You can make your points every other way. You can hit the streets, you can protest, but do not hamper people that want to go about the legitimate business, and you do not touch the national grid. You do not do that. He is not above the law. He must present himself to law enforcement. If truly these charges are false, he can go with a lawyer. And one thing that he said that I will agree with is law enforcement too should quickly charge him to court, so that the judiciary can be swift with it, and then we can be done with this. But he's not above the law.
Right, and he hasn't said he is above the law. He hasn't said he will not, honor the police invitation. Though, of course, that is an interesting, twist, and you've also spoken to that issue. But then he has gone on through his lawyers to ask for details of, the allegations that the police has issued against him, as has kind of indicted him on, and so that's what he is. Don't you think that is also another way to show that he knows his rights?
So yes, it is within his rights to do so, but the other side of it is I also don't hear him trying to caution his members, who are saying, you know what, you dare pick him up because a lot of trouble. Why is that even supposed to be an issue? Why is it an issue? He's your representative, he's been invited, and I don't believe that they're saying that even if that part of the allegations is that he's funding terrorism and all of that. They're not saying that he's even doing it in his capacity as a Labour president. So why are his members then saying, you know what, we're going to cause a lot of trouble? And also, he's also not saying, okay, you know what, stay your hand. There's no cause for alarm. We'll get all of this sorted out. Because for me, until you are able to caution your members and put a Chinese wall between your particular personal issue from what is going on with your organization, I don't see how I can separate him from both. For me, my main priority now is that we do not get folks that are trying to shut down the economy. It is very imperative at this time. Things are very difficult as they are right now. We do not want a repeat of what happened the last time, where everything was literally grounded to a halt. Things have been attempting to pick up one way or the other. We're grappling with a lot of field situations right now. We do not need added pressure. We do not need added problems to what is going on. So, if he truly wants to act in good faith, he should call his people to order, tell them to steady their hand, and go face his personal issues with law enforcement, either through his lawyers or he goes personally. What he does with that is his personal business, but he must be able to put and get his people under control. That, for me, is a priority here.
I'm not sure whether Mr. Ariyo is.
He is.
All right, Mr. Ariyo, looking at what Mr. Adipo actually, said, regarding his honoring the invitation of the Nigeria police, is saying that this is a personal issue. It's not an issue against the labor union. Although Amnesty International and some other organizations had actually come out to, to disagree with this invitation and all of that. But the NLC threatening nationwide strike, downing tools, do you not feel that we understand when they did that, fighting for the minimum wage increments and all of that, we lost connection with it? Yes. Right. So, okay. So let me just quickly, change tack. Right, because the question is actually meant for Mr. Ariyo. But how do you think government and the labor union can come together, maybe to a round table, and resolve this, matter once and for all, so that we don't have government, labor or security agencies, security agencies are actually working for the government, face off that will now affect the issue, the general issues that we're facing in the country as regards food crises, challenges here and there. How can they resolve this? Well,
personally, I don't fully understand the question because this is, for all intents and purposes, a legal issue now.
Okay. No, because it's seeming to be like another battle between the federal government and the labor union.
Well, that's if you buy the argument of labor unions within and outside the country who say it's a move to victimize the labor force in Nigeria.
Yes. So this is why I personally do not buy that. Okay. For the labor union or any type of union, any type of organization, there are excos. Right? So why would his invitation by law enforcement cause this reaction? So, for example, if maybe he's charged to court, maybe, I'm not saying he would be, maybe if he's held in custody for some time, he has a deputy, there are other members of the EXCO to carry on the business of the labor union. So why is it that he's become some form of symbol? Is he running a cult following? What kind of organization is he running really? That we are getting this type of reaction from his members, because in the end he is one individual and he is being invited as a private citizen.
Yeah, as a private citizen, but then the issue the police is referring to is something that happened within the secretariat of the NLC, which is the building of the labor union. So one way or the other...
Following a raid by security agencies.
So do you not feel one way or the other is just like a call on the NLC to react?
To react within proportion. If react, they must. But I will go back to what I said emphatically earlier. And I hope it doesn't become a self-fulfilling prophecy that we do not want another shutdown of this economy. We do not want it. we must also understand that there are other elements, either political or otherwise, that will look to take advantage of certain moves like this.
Right.
We must be very careful.
I take your point. Of course, you're entitled to your opinions, but do you also recognize that on this issue of the police inviting Joe Ajaero for this, rather weighty, allegations, several groups, not labor unions now, have also said they will, in fact, be standing guard outside the police, headquarters, whilst Mr. Ajaero honors the invitation next week, Wednesday or Thursday or thereabout. Of course, key protest leader Omoyele Sowore has also said he'll be leading his own, people, his own team now, to stand guard and monitor and, in short, give solidarity.
Yes.
But, this fear that and it's not just you, it's, it's in order, this fear about averting a shutdown of the economy. We saw how it, played out during the protests earlier in the month. It kind of pitted the government against the people, against several groups, of the citizenry, who said that it's well within the rights of Nigerians to embark on protests. This seems to be, a protest of its own nature, really.
Yes.
But people are saying it's well within our rights. So what if we shut down the economy? We just must speak out. How do you view that stance?
So in terms of the folks that want to go camp in front of the police headquarters, that want to go support him, please go ahead. It's within their rights to do so. And they should also do so, also to ensure that there isn't also some form of high-handedness with the police. Okay? So that balance is also good. I'm not saying don't do that. My priority is you have grievances, you want to express those grievances. We can do them in 1,000 ways and one. That doesn't have to do with impacting and shutting down the economy.
But do you see this as also having an impact, positively or otherwise, on the present administration?
What are you referring to exactly?
What we are seeing playing out. Yes, you have stressed that this invitation is not in the capacity of Joe Ajaero as president of the NLC.
Yes.
But that is what he is. We have to face that fact.
Yes. Right.
Yes, and attention has now been cast unknowingly on the present administration of Bola Tinubu, and I'm wondering how you assess that impact.
Okay, so how to assess that is for them to adequately and swiftly charge him to court so that due process must be seen to be done. Now, it's a different conversation if you then invite him and then you detain him indefinitely, no court dates, no anything. Then you will invite him back here and then we'll have to blast the government, because we need to have these conversations objectively, okay? Right. He is innocent until proven guilty. Okay. Let's make that very, very clear. He's innocent until proven guilty, but he must also be able to present himself or make himself available for certain questions, and when he's charged to court, he must also appear before the judiciary, and the judiciary will take its course. And also because of the sensitivity of this particular issue, I would also expect that when he's charged to court, that they are also swift with the process, and he's not just held indefinitely, if he will be held in custody.
Perhaps their concerns are actually based on the precedents of what had happened before, like Emefiele, who was invited, and a lot of people went on the street saying, no, it was wrongly picked and all of that before we started seeing other things. Maybe because of the precedents of what had happened.
Okay.
I'm afraid time has actually...
Not our friend, as usual. Gentlemen, we just have to, call it, a rest. We have to just, rest our conversation, I meant to say. Dikbo Oyewole, thank you very much.
Thank you
for staying on with us on the program. We had to detain you further. Oladeinde Ariyo, who is, of course, one of our very reliable resource persons here, unfortunately couldn't talk much on the program this morning. Not his fault, however. We hope to reconnect